I think there's two areas. There's anti-incumbency with anti-government. I think they're both sort of combined together. A large part of it was fueled by the deficit. It's interesting, if you look at the Tea Party movement, its primary motivator was the deficit. Now, it's been taken over by different political factions in different areas and different geographies. But I just think there's a view that has been reinforced by the economy and by Wall Street and now BP Oil that shows that raises the issue as to whether government can be effective in dealing with your issues and your problems. It's going to be translated by those who know how to run campaigns into an anti-incumbent or anti-government movement. I don't see that as the Tea Party movement. I don't see it as any national trend. I just see the seeds out there where people are angry and frustrated and disappointed, and those who know how to capitalize. And Senator Brown, Scott Brown, is probably the best example, the way he ran his campaign in Massachusetts. It was textbook towards that message. And Martha Coakley was probably the worst person to run a campaign. So you saw two extremes. Now that was several months ago, and the elections aren't for another several months. My guess is that political consultants will be pretty attuned to how to try to deal with this. And the end result will be a little bit mixed. It's going to be hard to figure this out. If I thought there was a national organized movement to deal with this, it would be easier to answer your questions. But I see it more as grassroots community anger in which political opportunists are trying to tackle, and in large measure will depend upon how well financed, the quality of opponents, how everything is local, how well they run their local campaigns. And it's certainly more troublesome for Democrats than Republicans because they have more seats up. In the Senate, we have twice as many vulnerable senators as Republicans do, so it's more difficult for the Democrats this year. This is a tough time, and so you're exactly right. I don't think it's as partisan a problem as people make it out to be. You saw with Bob Bennett's loss in Utah, or we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's not really aimed at a political party. In fact, the generic numbers, and we unfortunately see generic numbers every day, show that Democrats are better positioned than Republicans generically. This is generic. It's not everything else being equal. That most Americans believe they're not happy with either Democrats or Republicans, but they're less satisfied with Republicans than Democrats in the Congress itself. Our numbers are horrible, so don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to brag about these numbers. They're not good. But you are correct. I mean, I think this election is one that it's unpredictable being on the ballot. A lot depends on the quality of your opponent and how your opponent runs your campaign and how you define yourself in this campaign. It's certainly not a year in which you want to embrace Washington as a congressman. You sort of want to make sure that you are that you're on the side of Americans who are upset, not on the side of government saying everything is fine.